Hello and welcome to another episode of Retrospective. I am one of your hosts, Ben, and this is Charles. Say hello.
Hello.
So today we are combating a 1997 Disney film called Flubber. Now, for me, Charles, my first literal note is, wow, I have not seen this film in donkey's years, which I know is the point of the podcast series itself, but at least the others I could kind of remember from memory. But I think I've seen Flubber like once or twice, if that.
Yeah, me too. I remember fucking nothing about this film.
Like it was just like I can remember the green flubber and I can remember Robin Williams was in it and that was it from memory. Nothing else was in it at all.
Literally, the only things I remember are Weibo and the weird fucking dance that the Flubber does.
It was that scene though was very reminiscent of like old musicals randomly. It immediately made me think of like the Gold Diggers of like 1933 and so on. Like those type of like old musicals where it's just loads of dancing and big like flashy stages of, umpteen hundreds of people just all kicking their legs furiously.
Yeah, it was so out of left field though. Like that scene just comes out of nowhere and then just doesn't do anything. There's no reason for it to be there.
Topic and dance. That's it. I did really enjoy like the intro credit scene where just all the names and stuff were like supposed to look like equations and stuff. I thought that was like a really like
Oh yeah, that was pretty
randomly.
cool.
But
Speaking of credits, though, weird cast. I mean, you obviously got Robin Williams. You've just got some pretty big names. You've got playing Smith and Wesson, which I thought was quite fun. The two thugs being called that. One of them is played by Clancy Brown of Highlander fame and Mr. Krabs fame. The other one is played by, I can't remember the actor's name, but he is fucking Silence the Lambs. It puts the lotion on its skin or it gets the hose again.
Ted Levine is his name. He's also in Shutter Island as a
That's
warden,
it.
I think, as well.
And not wishing to sound like Sheldon Cooper, but my worst enemy, Will Wheaton.
I was well surprised to see him in. I was like, whoa! I've literally seen him in like next to nothing other than Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, he plays himself, basically. He plays the snot-nosed, sniveling little fucking runt dickhead kid. So pretty accurate to real life Will Wheaton, I
I can't
guess.
believe you didn't include Sam Lloyd, that was Ted in Scrubs.
Oh yeah. Sam Lloyd
Just
is
the
also
random
there.
coach.
That's yeah. That was that was one when I think when he came on screen, I was like, "You look so familiar." I had to IMDb him because I was like, "What the fuck have I seen you in?" And then yeah, Scrubs makes sense.
Like for me personally, this is the worst film that we've watched. Like I really wasn't a fan, but we can get into that later. But it did make me laugh crazy during the basketball scene, especially during when the enemy team, so just being the coach was moaning, and then the ref's just like, nowhere in the rule book does it say anything about jumping too high, and then he's just like glaring at him,
Yeah.
and I was just howling. I was just like, oh my god.
Also, I know it was probably supposed to be the joke, but it is like children versus like actual grown men, like professional athletes. It was fucking
Literally,
wild.
all the kids in blue are like teenagers. Team in red are like full-blown NBA adults.
Yeah.
But no, like I guess we'll continue from like the chronological order. Otherwise, we'll get too like sidetracked. But to be fair, this was the first film I've seen with Robin Williams in since he's passed away. So it's kind of randomly like sad to hear his voice again in a roundabout way.
I did think that. I mean, I watched Jumanji not too long ago because it's just one of my favorite films, and every single time I see him, I'm like, "Oh, you're gone too soon, man."
I just kept seeing like because I think Mrs. Doubtfire is the most recent one I've watched of him. I think that was like a couple of years ago, but I just kept seeing like Mrs. Doubtfire randomly. But no, it was just like sad. He is like someone that was just like a special actor, but in all the right ways. Because I think I read somewhere that essentially they would do the scene as they were supposed to do, and then basically Robin would just be like, hey look, I'm going to improvise this. And I think it was Will Wheaton that said that basically there was enough footage to just make an entirely new film, but they didn't use any of it in the actual film, unfortunately.
I've heard that in like a lot of films that he's done, he does something similar.
I know, and pretty much all of his films are just like good, or he himself in it is just good. I don't know why the directors just wouldn't be like, hey bucko,
Yeah,
let's put this in. Because John Hughes, the screenwriter for this, it was his first choice.
that got me off guard when I saw him in the credits. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing
Robin
here,
Williams
making this
was his
shit?"
like first choice, but I think he had some beef with Disney at the time or something. But I think once that subsided.
He did. This may. I mean, I haven't checked prior to recording this, but this may have been around the time he fell out with Bob Iger, I believe, over. He felt betrayed because of Aladdin, because he said that he would only do Aladdin if it wasn't advertised and marketed up the wazoo using Robin Williams' appearance in it, and Bob Iger just did it anyway.
But yes, it was to do with that. I just had a quick look, and it was. But yeah, it was like this film, from what I can tell, was like a critic flop, but
I'm not
did
surprised.
okay at the box office. You know, we're not talking crazy. It did like had a budget of 80 million, which was a lot to be fair for that time. It feels like, but only grossed 100.
I can see the 80 million. To be fair, there's a lot of CGI in here. There's some half decent practical. I mean, Weibo looks really good actually. The blend between the practical and CGI is very seamless. Actually, it looks really good.
It holds up really well. Like when you first see the car flying, I was like, "Damn! Like this looks better than randomly the flying car scene for like Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets." I was like, "This."
Yeah, for sure. Also, I think just the flubber looks great. There are some scenes where I think there's one where Highlander man goes to take some flubber off the side of a container, and you can see it's not really there because his hand doesn't quite interact with it right. And that's like one of the few instances in the entire film where I was like, I can tell the flubber's not actually in the scene. But like for most of it, it looks great, especially that first scene when Robin Williams like stretches it and puts his face into it. Great, looks so good.
I didn't realize or have any inclination that this is a remake of a 50s Disney film called Absent Minded Professor, which came up as a recommendation after watching the film, and I was like, oh, whoa. But apparently a lot of people were just like, from having a look at things on the internet, people were just like, Flubber's just crap compared to this. Like, but
I would say they're both bad. I have seen both of them, and the old one is very Plan 9 from Outer Space, kind of just bad. Then neither of them are particularly great, but this I feel commits the very heinous crime of just being boring. There's not really much going on here.
Like he doesn't see his wife at the aisle for the third time, but when we get to the end of the film, we literally just have Weebet, which is like the kid of Weebo, for viewers that don't know. That
one of my notes is Weebet looks way less cool than Weebo.
But then she's just like got Robin on the screen, and I'm just like, why couldn't this have happened every other time or something?
Do you think Weebo programmed her huge robo boner for the professor into Weebet?
Oh, I don't know. That just makes things like almost like so complicated.
I have so many notes that just says like Weebo. Well, actually, I had one that's Weebo wants to fuck the professor, and then later on in my notes it's just, oh god, Weebo really does want to fuck the professor. I think that was when they projected the like human version of herself touching him.
Yep. I know, because I was literally in the film, like when I was watching it, I put a note to be like, ask Charlie if there's some like weird like, does Weebo randomly like love the professor type of thing, or am I just imagining it? But no, it really is a thing, you know. It's quite sad randomly, but in a cute way. But yeah, she, you know, I think if she could have physically touched him, she would have done the nasty to him.
I mean, I would say it's sad in a cute way, apart from the fact that like part of the reason he was so absent-minded and kept forgetting the wedding was because Weebo just kept not telling him about it or lying about the date.
Being like Weebo could have just reminded him about the wedding. Like she was like,
yeah, but I think that was the point though. She doesn't want him to get married because she wants to be with him, even though she can't because she's a fucking flying Roomba.
She was like, I quite like that she reminded me of Bumblebee a lot, with just kind of like how she would like show emotions or like words with basically just like little GIF things, which was just like Bumblebee, but doing that with the radio. That was quite cool.
Easily, probably one of my favorite things about the film is just every single time Weebo emotes using, just clips from pop culture. I thought that was really clever and fun.
For sure. I really enjoyed it. You know, even when we first meet Flubber, to be fair, my first reaction when I saw it was, why have you taken your glove off when you really don't know what it is to touch it, and just like starting to make like weird like animal noises to it, as if it's just like.
Well, that, and also he explicitly states that the only way this can work is if it's created in like extreme cold. So he has it. I mean, like the container he takes it out of is literally frozen over, and he touches it with his bare hands.
cold.
Like, surely the Flubber itself would also be extremely cold.
But hey, these are nitpicks for a film that had far too many potholes in.
I mean, one thing that I think is a bigger issue, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but why is the Flubber sentient? Not like what is the explanation for it in the like film story wise, but I mean like from a design perspective, what did they gain from making the Flubber sentient? The only thing I can think of that even remotely affects is just the completely out of place dance scene. There's no other reason in the entire film for the Flubber to be alive. It's very
Yes,
strange.
I could probably only assume that it was Disney, and they might have thought they might make a new like character that might have been remotely marketable. Maybe that's the only sort of logical thing.
Possibly. I mean, I have a Flubber plush.
Nice, it's,
um,
it's quite a cute thing, and probably some people might have liked it. It might have just like just you and me have spoke about slime in general, I think, and like that could have just been a thing that they might have brought on, like Flubber slime or thing. We had that sort of whole Nickelodeon slime thing.
maybe it was just to give. You know what? Actually, I know I keep coming back to the dance scene, but that definitely seems like a trailer shot.
Anything.
I wonder if Flubber being sentient and all the scenes like that really showcase it being sentient were purely for the trailer to get people to be like, oh look, it's new family fun film with living Goofy Goo.
Woohoo!
That's got to be what
I
it
know, it was
is.
just such like left field, and to make it like super bouncy just seemed like a random like thing to just because like literally he like bounces Flubber, and then it was bouncing crazy fast, and then Robin just the professor catches it, and I was just like, this man's a nerd. He's not supposed to be good at sports. This
Yeah.
goes against everything I know. Like, and everyone could just
Also,
catch it randomly, even though it was going super fast. Like Sarah does it at the end, just like some like alley oop to herself.
yeah. Also, he when he's testing it, so he puts like the stuff on the golf ball and bounces it. And he's like, yep, super bouncy, cool. Next thing, bowling ball indoors. Are you fucking mental?
So just watching the golf ball break glass in his quite small garage or come downstairs, and then that even like both the thugs got hit. And I mean, it would probably literally take me dropping a bowling ball from like the top of my like room at my house if you were stood outside of the bottom, and that potentially would kill you, at least cause brain damage.
Yeah, one of my notes is these must be the most thick-skulled thugs ever because they both take bowling balls at terminal velocity to the head.
It was crazy. Like there was just some very bizarre things, like the sentient thing could randomly draw the Mona Lisa just very shortly after it's allergic to photography.
Yeah, after being born,
I know.
basically.
And then Flubber's flying around and just imitates that big dumpy of that lady walking around, which made me chuckle, to be fair.
That one
But
was quite funny.
that poor kid in
That,
that
that
room,
that's only a '90s film
that
thing.
poor kid in the flipping room, man. He's just
Oh my god, yes, I have one of my
there's
last
nothing in
notes
the
is that
window.
poor fucking kid.
Lied to every time after something weirder and weirder. It's just flipping stupid.
Yep.
My thing is, this kid is never going to want to sleep in his bedroom again.
Yeah, that poor fucking kid, and like in the airplane as well at the end of the film.
He's like, oh, I promise you, there's nothing out here, son. Have a look outside the window. There's stuff flying car, and you basically get like spooked from like Flubber through the window. But like I don't really understand how it made the car fly. To be honest, I thought that was a bit bizarre.
Yeah, and also he just randomly has radioactive material
just
floating about in his house.
Just chilling, and then when he even when the car flies, he just leaves his garage open.
Yeah. Also, like it's from what I can understand is it like bounces at such a like frequency that it generates lift, but it would only generate lift at the front of the car, right? The car wouldn't fly level.
I would have assumed that as well, but again, I'm no technical scientific gentleman over here. I'm all
It's
about
just
film.
such a bizarre film. This feels like a bunch of different ideas just all chucked into a film, and then just Flubber just seems to be the weird glue that holds it all together.
Yeah, like for such a smart guy, why turn the car off when he's up in the sky?
I have a note about that.
What
I have a
went
note
through
that
his
just
brain?
says, "Why the fuck did he turn
What
the
went
engine
through his
off?"
brain to just be like, you know what? Let me just turn this car off, even though that's the only thing just keeping us afloat. And hey, this lady I've tried to marry a few times and just fucked up every single time. You know what's going to win her back? I'm going to give tax to all the basketball shoes so they can jump and fly really high. And by making them cheat, I'll win my wife back. Essentially.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that as well because like the main conflict of the film is he owes a lot of money to Gangster Man, I guess.
Will Wheaton's evil dad.
But why doesn't he sell the design for Weibo? The design for the other automated robot he has, like
Yes,
making his
and that
breakfast
breakfast
for
looked
him.
phenomenal. I had a note as if you're just like,
Yeah.
wow, this is so unnecessary. A laser and a robot to crack an egg. And then afterwards, my note is just, wow, that's a really good looking breakfast.
How is that man struggling for money when he could literally like this was the 90s. Like having a autonomous robot that can like talk and show emotions and stuff, even if they just took the basic like drone design for it for like military applications or anything like that, he would make packets. How is he not just minted because of that? I know he says like later on in the film that it was never about the money or anything, but like you're struggling for money, just patent it and sell it on, and then you've got the money that you need to continue your
Literally drop
research.
off at like any army base in your flying car and be like, yo,
And that as well, when he's still like, he makes the fly. He even forgets about the flying car when he's talking to the fiance, and they're just like, we could sell the flying car. Huh? Oh yeah, we have a flying car, don't we? While they're in said flying car.
I don't know, it was just a very far-fetched film. Everything about Flubber and everything that it does is very like plot holey,
Yeah.
which is a
Well, like I
problem.
said,
And it was
I
a bit
don't.
too much out there. Like sometimes I don't mind, wacky things, Looney Tune type of stuff in things, but like this was just very like I didn't even like Flubber as a character randomly. It was just not really needed at all.
It just didn't need to be a character. It was just
Yeah.
odd, and also well, like I said, like this feels like a bunch of different concepts all just lobbed together. Like I don't know, this was just scraps of other films that they just chucked into one because none of this is really cohesive or makes a great deal of sense. It does just feel. Yeah, just like an absolute Frankenstein's monster of a film. It's so odd. None of it really makes any
At
sense.
all.
It's this, you know what? This feels like if you asked an AI to make a family-friendly
Yeah,
film.
just put them from the 90s for sure. I don't know if it would do
Yeah,
that now, but
yeah. If you just gave an AI a prompt of like make a '90s family-friendly sci-fi film with Robin Williams, I feel like this is what it would shit out.
like in the basketball game, like the kid with the last bounce, like he jumped upwards, but then starts rolling forwards and goes through the entire hoop for the last buzzer
Yes,
beater. Like
I
what what happened?
I had a note to that extent because he falls backwards onto his ass, but then it launches him forwards into the hoop, and then he does like a front flip and then lands through it. But I swear he's facing the other way as he goes
Oh,
through it.
it's too many things to just not question. Like when Weeaboo kind
Also, why does every single guy just like, huh? We're jumping really high, and I've got these mysterious tacks on the bottom of my shoes. I'm going to take them off. Do you ever think that you're supposed to be like the science team, right? Like the science nerds playing
of
basketball. Surely you'd be like, yes, perhaps it's these tacks that are making me jump
do
really
you not
high.
have a sporty team that can play basketball instead that aren't 13-year-old teenagers or something?
Well, I think is it supposed to be like a
Yeah, I'm assuming
science and
it's like a
engineering
decathlon type of like
university?
thing, like with the math scholastic decathlon, that type of thing. But like, Lord, they just got giga NBA players to come in instead of just the nerds. But even so, like they just all randomly coped with getting super bouncy powers very well, and I do not think there was enough time for them to catch up because they were honestly like 60. I think it was like 58-5 or something at one point.
You know what? Did this come out before or after Space Jam?
Space Jam came out in '96. I think it was one of the films that came out during the year I was born. I'm fairly sure. Yeah,
Because
Space Jam came out in '96.
and when
So
did this come out?
this came out in '97.
Maybe. Yeah, this is a fucking AI made this film, man. Space Jam was real popular. People loved seeing non-conventional like people play basketball against like big professional basketball players. Let's just shove that in our film about
Yeah,
silly
they just
goo.
need to make that like part of the last part, like part of the film. Because I loved Space Jam. I still, if we cover that, I probably would still like it now. Because
I still like Space Jam. Me and my daughter watched it not too long ago because she's big into Looney Tunes, just like me. I'm a massive Looney Tunes fan, and yeah, Looney Tunes still holds up. But we will. Well, I'll happily do a video on that because I love that film so much.
I just love that it's just Bugs Bunny, Michael Jordan, Space Jam. No one else. Nothing else. No Bill Murray on the front of like the cover. Nothing like that. It's just Bugs
That's
Bunny,
all you
Michael
need,
Jordan.
baby. We need to do
Oh,
Looney Tunes back in action as well.
yes, I have that on DVD as well. But like, I genuinely felt bad for Weeaboo for her death randomly. I was just like, oh,
Weeaboo.
that sucks. Oh,
Weebo.
Weeaboo.
Yeah, to be fair, as fucking creepy as Weebo was for most of the film, when they died, I did feel emotions.
Did you know she was going to die though? Because I was just like, feels really weird to make a "in case I die" thing with the new AI thing that she made for herself
Yeah.
without it just out of the blue. Like, if I suddenly like learned how to do that, I wouldn't just be like, you know what I'm gonna do? Make a "in case I die" thing.
Yeah, that was a bit
But it
odd.
was just
Also, it says stalk on her screen, and somehow neither of them noticed or remembered because it's just like
he
the
randomly
word that
asked
came
and
up.
kissed
The
on the
word that
cheek.
came up on the screen. What was it? Why are you asking the absent-minded man when you're supposed to be the one that's always on it? Why don't you remember? It's very strange.
I know. And then here's a kiss on the cheek, and then it started with an S.
Yeah,
And then
I wish they showed just like a small montage of him looking at every single file beginning with S on his computer until he eventually found it.
But the entire ending was just hard to watch.
It was
It was
very
just
dumb.
it was more dumb than it, like Looney Tunes and things. Going in, you're gonna kind of get a little bit of that dumb stuff. Same with Space Jam. That type of thing. You're gonna get a little bit of the dumbness, and maybe some things don't make all too much sense. But just this film was actually quite bad on a
I think that's
rewatch.
part of the issue. Like this doesn't feel like it's supposed to be just absolutely cartoony and over the top and stupid, but that's very much how it comes across, if that makes any sense.
And then even after the entire main point of the plot being like he needs to meet her at the altar, he literally then doesn't meet her at the altar still.
Just go to your fucking wedding, man. Just put things to one side for one day, go to your wedding, and then it's done. Also, that woman
I know.
has. I mean, one of my first notes is that his fiance has endless patience for his shenanigans, considering it's the third time.
I know. Why, if she's so bothered, literally just go pick him up, go scoop him up, and be like, right, we're off to our wedding. Let's
Get
go.
married in his fucking basement while he's doing his experiments.
It's like she only wants to just be married to him. Maybe she's a secret gold digger, and just wants to like be with this ingenious man.
I want to know what she's a professor of, because they obviously
I think
work
she was.
together, but we never
Yeah, it
find
felt
out.
like she was like the dean randomly in their office. It very much reminded me of Cuddy's office in House.
I also, because when you find out about like the loan from the loan sharks or whatever, I thought she was going to be like, gasp! I didn't know you took a loan. Why didn't you tell me these things? But she was just like, yeah, I remember us doing that. Like, oh, okay, fair enough. That's story that we didn't know about, I guess.
I know, and it was just like it was too on the nose with the absent-mindedness when he walks into the classroom at the beginning, when there's just two like naked people getting drawn. I was just like, really?
I choose to believe
Really?
that he realized he made a mistake, but was just rolling with it.
Just like, oh yeah, but he didn't do it. He literally, until he rolled it down, he was just like, oh yeah. But no, it was just, I don't know. It was almost a sad film to revisit, given how much it did not hold up annoyingly.
Yeah, it was very much. Robin Williams was wasted on this. To be fair, all the talented actors apart from Will Wheaton were wasted on this. I mean, Clancy Brown, what are you fucking doing here, man?
I know.
It's
I was
so
literally, I heard
weird.
his voice, and I was like, oh, that's Mr. Krabs.
Love it. Your thought was Mr. Krabs, not Highlander.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen Highlander.
You
Really?
fucking what?
I know. I don't think I have. I click on
Okay,
Clancy
you're.
Brown's name. I've seen Shawshank Redemption. I've seen Starship Troopers. I've seen the SpongeBob movies.
What about Soldier? Pretty sure he's in
I
Soldier as well.
don't think I've seen that. Doesn't ring a bell.
You haven't seen Soldier? Okay, there are so unrelated to this series, but there are so many films that you need to watch that are like 80s and 90s staples.
Yeah, but
How have you not seen
when I was
Highlander?
in my early infancy, I had Fox Kids and Jetix, and my whole entire existence went into watching Power Rangers, Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh! That swept me up. If I wasn't watching something like that, or watching, things on Cartoon Network and Boomerang and stuff, I was literally either playing Pokemon, playing with my barnacles, playing with my Power Ranger toys, or playing with my Pokemon toys. or just
Okay.
outside
So
doing that.
see, I was either playing with my toys or it was my dad just being like, "Well, you're gonna sit down with me, son, and we're gonna watch a film now," and it'd stick a VHS on, and it would be. I don't know why my dad is a 1950s
Yeah,
American.
I thought it was about to
Yeah,
get
see,
hella
right,
dark
good.
then.
You're gonna sit down and watch a film with me, see, son? Yeah.
Sounds like the beginning voice for the Star Wars Clone Wars type of thing.
But it'd be like, okay, I'm gonna watch Alien, or I'm gonna watch Soldier, or like, because my dad was very much like big into his films, so it'd be like, you're going to watch the things that I enjoyed, and like that sounds like a bad thing, but it's not. It's why I've got such an eclectic taste in films now because my dad made me watch so many things growing up. Like, have you ever seen a film called Krull?
No.
Oh my god, you uncultured swine!
I'm not uncultured. I'm just I don't even know. I don't have a word for it. I just grew up on a particular set of things in which if I was ever exposed to older things, it was literally by chance from randomly. I'd never if it wasn't going for my flipping nan's house, I would have never watched a children's TV program called Charlie Chalk, and I think that's just an extremely unheard of like kids program. But she had a VHS, and when I was round there and there was nothing to do, that's what I watched. Same with I wouldn't have got into Murder
Amazing.
She Wrote if it wasn't going to my nanny Mary's house. I'd go on, stick on Channel 5 on a little TV on like basically like the kitchen, island thingy, and I'd watch that. That's how I watched I think it was the Sandlot Crew, and then the one where it's like it's a bunch of kids and they basically like drive little made go-kart things, and there's a dude with a really pointy spike, and someone sings a song to a girl where it's just like, you are so beautiful to me.
Well,
Nope, not ringing any bells.
no.
Wow,
But
what was
we
it?
have.
The Little Rascals. That was it.
Okay, the name sounds familiar. Okay, we've gotten wildly off topic. I don't think there's much else to say about this film,
No.
to be honest. This
To go over our thoughts, it was. If I was a child, it would be great. Like, if I was under the age of 10, probably a great film for me. If I was that fine, I probably wouldn't
I
think
don't
about
know. I think if I was a child, I would occasionally look up from bashing my Power Rangers together and be like, "Huh," and then go back to bashing my Power Rangers
Where's
together.
the Flubber?
There's nothing to grip your attention, even for a kid, to be honest.
It was. I don't know. It was just a film that did not resonate with us by the sounds of it. But hey, not everyone that we revisit is going to be a winner. Randomly we get to have a shorter video today, which is quite cool. But they're the bonuses. Unfortunately, thankfully it was only an hour and a half film. If it was any longer than that, I think I would have just WASD'd all over my keyboard in just boredom. But
Yeah, my brain would have logged off with the Windows XP log off sound, I think, if it was any longer than that.
But no, I think it's a good place to end there. So thank you everyone that tuned in and listened and whatnot. We're always happy to communicate with you in the comments and things. We do enjoy doing these videos, and we are, hopefully going to be bringing in something new towards the February time, but just as a small side one. But please do look out for those, and hopefully they will grab your attention as well. But no, please don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all those types of things, and just thank you for tuning in.
Take care, guys. Bye.